Hello. I am here to talk about another decision. This is decision 13, so we're almost done with all of the decisions I wanted to share with you. And if you haven't watched any of my other videos, in healing myself and my life, and as reflecting back on my life, how I healed, there were many things that helped me to heal, but one of them were the decisions that I made and kept to. And also that are just the foundation for my life, how I approach life and live life. And, as I came pretty far in healing and in changing and keeping to my decisions, I actually noticed that, like last time I talked about how I decided who I am. And that's a good decision to make. But what I noticed was that sometimes when I was around certain people, and in certain situations, I would change who I am. Like, two important ways this happens. This can happen in more than two ways, but two important ways that this happened to me, and I think you'll understand completely because it probably happens to you too. The first one, let's see, I'm going to start with the one, is that I allowed other things and people to induce fear in me. I became afraid about things and other people. And I have learned and I accept that I am 100% responsible for my life. And that means that I am responsible for whether or not I'm experiencing fear. Now, fear is normal, it is human, it can mean a lot of different things. You can learn about fear. Fear can be a teacher, fear can be a blessing if you need to run away from a bear and climb a tree real fast, So I'm not saying fear is a bad thing all of the time, but I don't think I need to tell you that it can cause a lot of problems too. And especially when it's ruling you instead of you understanding it and having it be wherever you want to, what it's for. And especially when it comes to becoming an entrepreneur, making decisions and changing your life that way, a lot of fear can take place. Although for me it was a lot of things, not just about entrepreneurship. But and so I was one person by myself, but if I was in the presence of another person, I gave my power away. I let there be fear, but it wasn't them. They are not the ones who are doing it to me. Yeah, maybe they're even a scary person, but that's their problem. It's not my problem. Now, is it easy? Is it easy to become a person who chooses when to have fear and when not to have fear? Not necessarily. But, the first choice is to do something and take action even while you're feeling fear, and then the next thing is the reason I did this is because I was feeling fear so much, and I was realizing this is internal. This isn't them doing this to me. This is a choice I'm making. Somehow I have a paradigm that tells me that I should be afraid in this situation, that I don't have power, that I can't help myself. And so I did this to be nice to myself, like just to let myself off the hook from so much fear. And so what happens is other people's behavior and who they are in other circumstances, but oftentimes it's another person, cannot dictate who I am going to be in a given moment. They're not allowed to do that. Again, this is not instant. This took me a lot of practice, and I'm still practicing. But just because a person wants to be scary doesn't mean I have to take the opposite role and be afraid. I don't have to do that. And this is very interesting for, like if you've been in dysfunctional family situations, like if you're afraid of your parents or something like this. Like I said, this is not just about entrepreneurship. So how do you, and that person is trying to induce fear and generate fear. Maybe they're not conscious of it. Maybe that's their drama. Your parents or something, or maybe your spouse even or something. your boss, but just because they're trying to either consciously or unconsciously induce some fear because that's how they feel safe, is to walk around with, being a scary person all the time, doesn't mean you have to take the opposite role. You can choose that. And I keep telling myself that I can choose how afraid I am. And if I do feel fear and I don't want to feel fear, it's a skill just like anything else. I can figure out how to soothe myself, or how to go inside myself and find my peace again. And the first few times it's kind of hard, and then after a while it gets easier, just like any other skill. The other thing that often I find myself becoming a different person is just, my anger and my reaction to things. That, like, if someone is rude to me, maybe I would be rude back to them. Or if they said something that was unkind, that I would either have an angry response back or maybe a sad response, go off and sulk in the corner or something. As if, again, they had the power over my state or my emotions. And it's never true unless we give it to them. Okay? We can give it to them. We may be kind of weak and need some practice on how to do something differently, but it's ultimately up to us. And so, if someone else is having a bad day and they want to dump on me, I don't necessarily respond in kind. I find that I have enough power to be kind back. If I feel like they've really crossed the line, then I stand up for myself and just say, could you lower your voice and let's talk about this? I'd be glad to, help you out here. And again, I'm not perfect at this by any means, but the point of it is, that crux of it is that I'm the one that decides who I am. And I don't let something happening out there, whether it's something about fear or that would normally cause fear, or somebody trying to get a rise out of me or something. I'm very, very deliberate in the speech I have back to someone and the emotional state I have back to them. I ask myself, how do I really want to respond here? And it could be a variety of things. I may just walk away from a situation. I may, try to listen past somebody's blusteriness and see if there's really, they're just really afraid for something, and they don't know how to deal with their own self either, and I can be kind. And then if I'm kind, most people respond back to that, because they're expecting you to have a reaction. Like if they're rude, they're expecting you to have a rude reaction. So if you react back kindly, then they're like, oh, well, I don't have to be worried in this situation. And they usually bring their game, they bring their state down to match yours. Not always, 100%. And what I find for myself is that there are some people that I can handle, and I just, be deliberate in my response, and I'm able to handle them the way they are, even if it looks a little intense to other people. It's fine for me, because I actually have quite a bit of strength in that. But sometimes there are people that I encounter that are too much for me, and it's perfectly all right to protect myself and to walk away and just, I don't have to put myself in harm's way of a truly toxic person. I don't have to do that. Nobody does. Okay? So there's lots of ways this can play out for lots of different emotions, but the point of it is I am responsible, and I choose who I am and my emotional state and the things I'm going to say and the things I'm going to do. It is totally up to me. And there's no thing and nobody out there that can change this without my permission. And that's the foundation of it. Because otherwise you're just going with the whim of everybody who wants to do their drama with you. You're sucked into those dramas. So I don't want to do that. So I try to just respond according to my values and the best that I can. So I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.